Hello everybody, Disciple here with Overwatch Curios. Now, mechanically speaking, all of the heroes in Overwatch have strengths and weaknesses that help make up great team comps and counters, as well as just harness very different playstyles with each hero. There are clearly stronger and weaker heroes in the roster, and this changes all the time with new patches, new heroes being introduced, and whatever the current competitive meta is like at the time. Today, we're going to take a look at a little bit of a different aspect of strength for the heroes that isn't based around in-game mechanics, and we're not going to give you the top 5 best characters to carry yourself with in solo queue. Instead, it's based around the story behind Overwatch. Now let's check out the top 5 most powerful heroes according to lore. Before we begin, let me preface it with the fact that the heroes we're sticking to are the currently playable ones. There are so many heroes that aren't playable but are still in the lore in some form, and it'd be really difficult to choose the most powerful since we wouldn't know the full scope of their abilities, so we're gonna stick with what we know. Not all power comes from muscles or huge weaponry. Symmetra wields a very different and dangerous power: information. Privacy is such a big deal in our ever-changing technological wonderland, and the politicians, CEOs, and military leaders of Overwatch's world take it just as seriously. As Symmetra grew in both age and skill, she started to compile information on all of the top people in the world, which she could then use to sell, blackmail, or manipulate her way to what she wanted. Right now, Symmetra isn't the most powerful hero in the teams that we play as, but in the lore, she could easily be one of the most powerful heroes that could bring down an entire company or government with the push of a few keys. Her power also has a place in the physical world, as she herself is wired up to hack machines and computers to do her will. Now this could be anything from opening a door to controlling some of the world's latest and most deadly robots and omnics, which could be devastating to fight against. The scariest aspect of it is that while she's worked with Talon in the past, as we've seen her in the animated short, she's actually got her own agenda, which puts her squarely in no one's control but her own. She doesn't fight for an ideal or an organization, she fights for herself, and we have yet to see which side of the line she really falls on. Her last pillar of strength is her anonymity. No one actually knows who she is. She can disappear in a heartbeat if things go south, both online and on the field with her stealth, and trying to track Symmetra down to take care of the problem has been the goal of pretty much all of her victims, currently with little to no success. A hero who knows everything about you, can control everything around you, and who's shrouded in mystery. Now that's real power. And really the power of having control over these individuals who are in charge in the government and everywhere could be just as powerful as resurrecting others back to life or being able to blink across huge distances. Speaking of that, Tracer is an irrepressible force for good and stands with her former Overwatch allies to fight the good fight, and there's really no question about that. She's bubbly, she's fun, and she always has a smile on her face. But when you stop to think about it, she's really one of the most powerful heroes around, and it would be terrifying if she wasn't a good guy. Now you know the story. She was a pilot trying out a new time-shifting fighter when an accident happened and phased her out of time and space. Her buddy Winston spent a lot of time trying to bring her back and settled on a device called the Chronal Accelerator that keeps her firmly in our time frame. She uses a device to blink and recall around the battlefield and generally annoy people. That's cool. But we're missing one key point here. She's a time traveler, and she might even be immortal if her time controlling can go back far enough. There's literally no mistake or bad decision that can't be undone with the power to go back in time from her perspective. And she might be bound to 3 seconds for gameplay purposes, but in reality, if this technology exists, it could be so much more powerful than that. If she wanted to, she could go back and change everything between tripping over a rock while walking home and potentially all the way back to the fall of Overwatch as an organization, as long as she knew when and where things went down. Now potentially she can only visit things that happened in her own life, since her recall does take her back to her exact position, and so she might be a little bit more limited into that, but we really don't know the full extent of her abilities, and I'm pretty sure that Winston probably doesn't want to explore them too far in case that technology went into the wrong hands. Now, time paradoxes aside, the potential to time travel is pretty endless, and lucky for us, Tracer is on our side, or the world of Overwatch would probably be a very different place altogether, although I'm sure the fans would love to see Widowmaker and Tracer fighting side by side. Now, another powerful trait that she has is her blink ability, helping her move forward in time and enabling all sorts of movement and dodging capabilities. In combat, it helps her get around to flank an enemy or sneak behind a vulnerable objective, but it can also be presumably used to circumvent security measures like cameras, scanners, and small gaps in terrain, making her quite the infiltrator. It's definitely worth a place on the list. Winston is the mild-mannered, good guy of the roster, but he's actually insanely powerful when you break it down. He's a genetically modified gorilla that was at the heart of an experimental research facility on the moon and inherited his love for knowledge and science, as well as his name, from his keeper, Harold Winston. Right out the gate, we learn that it was Winston who took down the previous person known as Doomfist, which is apparently a huge feat since the boy in the first Overwatch cinematic trailer said that Doomfist could level a skyscraper. We assume he did this with the help of his rage-induced ability Primal Rage, in which he pulls a Hulk and goes into a complete frenzy, wailing on enemies in his path and becoming incredibly hard to take down himself. So he's got physical strength because he's a gorilla, which is really powerful, but he also has another strength which puts him high on the list: intelligence. Winston's a scientist and inventor that creates a wide variety of useful gadgets and weapons for himself and his allies. He created all of the gear he uses, such as the protective barrier, the Tesla cannon, and of course Tracer's chronal accelerator that we talked about. Brains and brawn, plus the sheer fact that without him, Doomfist could still be around tearing stuff up, and Tracer wouldn't even exist in our time, puts him very, very strongly on the list. Up next, it's Symmetra, who is an architect or a hard light manipulator and works for the Vishkar Corporation, creating developments in cities using this radical new technology that literally bends reality to their will. Of course, in the lore, Symmetra's goal is to create the perfect society using this technology and rid the world of poverty, disgusting living conditions, and other undesirable situations. But take a moment to think about how powerful a device would be that creates any object out of light with seemingly no natural resources used. Simply think of a design, effectively blueprint it into the machine, and then presto, out comes an object. It's sort of like a scalable, hard light 3D printer that makes things in seconds, and complex things as well with moving parts. Weapons, robots, maybe even omnics, explosives, vehicles, fortifications, you name it. Symmetra could literally create an army, hole herself up in a technologically superior fortress, and could possibly even create new machines for manipulating hard light or to perform any other task she needs. Symmetra's abilities give her an infinite palette in which to work with that only requires thought and the device that she's carrying. Vishkar could literally control the world with this kind of technology, it seems, and in the lore, that's just what they're trying to do. It seems like overall they have good intentions, but if Lucio's right, then maybe that's not the case. Now finally, Reaper's an interesting mix of advanced medical treatments, energy manipulation, and a passion for killing things. His story is still mostly a mystery, but we know he went from starting the conflict to end Overwatch, to nearly being killed, to becoming the Reaper who's now a Talon operative. His supernatural powers come from whatever they did to him to bring him back to life, effectively, and his power lies within his ability to regenerate. Reaper actually loses and regenerates his cells very quickly, effectively making him immortal. And that's powerful enough as it is. He can't age, he won't die of natural causes, but what's even more powerful is his ability to survive combat and injury. He's been seen regenerating in mist form even after his body has been torn to shreds. This enables Reaper to perform all sorts of superhuman feats, such as slipping into areas that are heavily guarded by automated security that maybe even Sombra and Tracer couldn't get into. He can pop up anywhere on the battlefield and recover from all but the most destructive of attacks from just about anyone. He's also able to take the souls of fallen enemies on the battlefield, which, if you're religious, could make him by far the strongest of all. Whether they're actual souls or something more like biomass or energy hasn't really been determined, but it gives him instant regeneration, so he's eating them in some way. There's really nothing more powerful than an immortal being that's remarkably hard to kill, can regenerate instantly, can shed his physical form into a mist, and really likes killing things. Unfortunately, it seems like he is kind of on the bad side of things since Talon is known to do a few evil things in their past, And it really seems like Reaper's the most powerful in several ways and is extremely dangerous to just about anything that crosses his path. It's awesome to sit and think about the heroes and how powerful they are within the lore. It's a world of difference between power in-game and in story though, and heroes that you may find OP in a match may not necessarily be so powerful when you look at it from the lore context. Someone like Reinhardt has always been strong, but really he's just a dude in a suit of armor, and of course he's got some cool technology with his suit and with his shield, but other than that, he's just an old soldier. Now when you check out the comics, the animated shorts, and the history of each hero, you really start to tie in their power with their personality and what they do with that power. It was hard to decide who we should put on this list, and so your list could be very different from ours, but I am curious what you guys think about it and who you think could be the strongest lore hero in Overwatch. Let us know. Anyway, that's going to be it from us. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.